Look at these. Nearly every one of these sleek machines has been designed for one reason: to go fast. Faster than their competition. These beasts of beauty, as they're sometimes referred to, have been designed and blueprinted down to the last nut and bolt to withstand the violence it takes for them to run the speeds that they do. Now, as you can see, they come in all different shapes and sizes, but they carry only one type of person. One who loves the speed, the sound, and the danger. I do. I'm Dan Pastorini, and this is the exciting world of speed and beauty. This AA fuel coupe thrilled many spectators back in the mid-'60s with its full quarter-mile burnouts. However, with the advent of factory sponsorship into the late model funny cars, there was no longer any room for these dragsters. This is just one of the many cars that you'll see at the Museum of Drag Racing in Ocala, Florida. It's a classic sport filled with colorful heroes, and now drag racing legends made in a fraction of a second can be enjoyed just about any time.
Speeds over 220 miles per hour. The big long hot dog out of Florida, the king himself, Big Daddy Don Garlits.
No, you haven't been catapulted back into the 60s. This vintage footage comes from the private collection of Big Daddy Don Garlits himself. One of drag racing's greatest legends has gathered a few of his favorite things into a drag racing museum in Ocala, Florida. Opened in 1984, the museum is Garlits' way of preserving America's automotive heritage.
I got to thinking I had 4 or 5 of my own cars still, and I knew there were 4 or 5 more where I thought, well, maybe I'll just put together a little museum, a little Don Garlits drag racing museum.
Right now, there are more than 50 exhibits, and there's a memory just around every corner.
Of course, Chris Karamessini's silver car over there that was originally in the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, he took it out and put it here. And that's the first car that ever went over 200 miles an hour. It wasn't an NHRA record, but it was the first official time over 200. We have that. That's a very sentimental favorite of mine.
A sentimental streak in one of drag racing's toughest competitors? Hard to believe, but true. After all, who is this masked man? He started racing officially at the age of 18. By the 1960s, he was considered the grand old man of drag racing. Hence the name, Big Daddy. Garlits is one of the winningest names in drag racing. He's the 1985 National Hot Rod Association World Champion, with decades of victories to his credit. While his trophies tell the story, his exhibits tell even more. There's a car from Shirley Muldowney, one of racing's few female drivers. She won the 1980 NHRA World Championship in this very car. That triumph later became part of a critically acclaimed movie, Heart Like a Wheel.
It's one of the only cars in existence of Shirley's at this time complete like that.
Most of the cars are rarities, and visiting the museum is a rare treat, especially for history buffs. Here's one of the earliest hot rods, a Ford V8 with parts from a 1941 sedan, built by an innovative mechanic in the 1940s, somewhere in the Midwest. Later came Little Liz. Dating from 1959, she was a boon to do-it-yourself drag racers. For a mere $290, you could order up a chassis, have it delivered to your home, pick up an engine of your choice, and be off. From the mid-'60s, here's a forerunner of the modern-day funny car. Spectators love to picture themselves behind the wheel. But no Don Garlits collection would be complete without a swamp rat, the cars that carried Big Daddy to so many victories over the years. Garlits says it's hard to put a price tag on this collection.
Oh, I don't know how the places like the Smithsonian and the Chicago Science and Industry Museum, how they put a value on things. They'd have to be worth millions in actual dollars.
But some things are even out of reach for the Smithsonian. That includes the original swamp rat.
Yeah, they can't have that one.
So don't worry about those so-called last drag races. As long as there are people determined to test the limits of time and space, the drag race will go on. This is a piston engine from a World